Before I start, I would like to let everyone know that co-chair Zena Sherrick had she's unable to be here today, and she's mourning Shiva. So thoughts and prayers with co-chair Sherrick and her family whilst you go through these trying times, and my condolences. So if you want, no problem to reach out to co-chair Sherrick, and if you so wish to send your condolences as well. And in saying that, I'm going to request that my co-rep, Janice, we have 3 co-reps in there. Anyone would like to join me in chairing the meeting? Janice? Okay. All right. So come on, Janice, and join us. Join me. Thank you, Janice. So I know we have a lot of new members, and there are going to be times when the co-chair will maybe one of the co-chairs unable to attend, and we will ask someone from the membership to help facilitate the co-chairing as well, the meeting. So before I start, I'd like to have, if we have quorum, the approval of quorum.
Yes, we have quorum.
Okay. And to start off my co-chair, I'm going to ask Janice, go ahead and read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Sharon. We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas, of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Miigwech.
Thank you, Janice. And code of conduct, I'd like to go over our meeting norms and code of conduct. During our question comment period by PIAC members, the following will occur. Rounds of question and comments will occur to allow all PIAC members to have opportunity to ask questions, comment at least once. PIAC members are expected to keep their questions, comments as concise as possible to ensure all PIAC members have an opportunity to speak. Co-chairs will close questions, comments, period, to ensure the meeting agenda is adhered, and indicate that question comments that are pending at the close of questions comment period be put into a chat or email to info@torontopiac.com to be recorded as part of our minutes. For PIAC motions that do not involve amendments, bylaws, change of meeting procedure, budget allocation, which are moved and seconded, the following steps will occur. I'd like to say this now before we go into our regular meeting. Okay, so members have a chance to think about it, okay? The PIAC co-chair will ask if any member wish a recorded vote. If 3 or more PIAC members request a recorded vote, then a recorded vote will occur, i.e. following the roll call voting procedure of calling on wards one at a time for their vote. If less than 3 PIAC members request a recorded vote, the motion is considered passed by consensus. We just want to make sure that we're in a space where everyone has equal voice, and we respect and, agree to disagree, but we are respectful to each other. So on that note, we're going on to meeting administration. So asking all PIAC members, are there any perceived conflict of interest? If there is online, you can just put your hand up. See anything? Nothing? In the room? Nothing? Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to change in membership status. Any PIAC member, co-reps or CLG, change in membership status, i.e. you do not have a child in the ward, or you are now an employee of the board. None? Sorry, Jenny, you're online, you're supporting this, correct, Jenny? Are you able to help support this? As well, right?
Sorry?
Okay, all right. Okay. I'd like to now ask for the approval of a consent to approve the agenda for February 20th, 2024 meeting minutes. Anyone would like to,
Well, Yusuf from Ward 15.
sorry, say again?
Yeah, I think if you want to, I can do that.
Okay, and who would like to second? Oh, no, you're co-chair.
Melanie, Ward 9.
Whose hand? Oh, sorry?
Melanie, Ward 9.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Michelle.
Just before you move, Chair, just wanted to advise you that the proposed amendments that were sent through email will be updated. So you're approving pending the proposed amendments.
Okay, so thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, we're getting feedback from
Okay.
Sorry, are we on the consent agenda?
Yeah, we just. Thank you. We just went through the consent agenda. And there are going to be some proposed changes. Sorry, so the consent agenda was moved and second, but there are going to be an updated, Michelle, what are the, when would you have the updates completed?
Actually, through you, Chair, the updates came through the email. We're making an amendment to the attendance list. Attendance including Andrew Waters, attendance including Crystal Stewart. So we'll make those amendments to the minute, which is why I propose that the motion be moved pending the amendments.
Thank
So
you.
once you approve it here, then the minutes will be amended and posted.
No problem. So as, and I agree with you, Michelle. So we're going to move second the agenda pending the amendments. And so the new amendments will be sent out to general membership. It's just more administrative, like cosmetic stuff. So we should be able to move on. The next on the list is the co-chair report. And I've submitted a co-chair report. I don't want to go through a lot of it. However, I need to speak about one very, very important thing first is to welcome all my PIAC co-reps, newly elected PIAC co-reps. Welcome to PIAC, and looking forward to working with each and every one of you. And also welcome back any re-elected reps, co-reps. Thank you for putting your foot forward again in agreeing to help support your ward at the committee level. I would like to thank the trustees, all the trustees who hosted elections to support PIAC and to ensure that your ward will have a voice on the committee for your parent community. As you know, the PIAC general meeting was canceled on March 26, 2024. And we are still within, or for mandated minimum 4 meetings a year. So the PI general meeting was canceled due to the Finance Board Enrollment Committee, which is acronym FBAC. The meeting took place the same date with right here in this room, March 26th, and it required attendance of PIAC. The trustee representative must be with our general meeting, and that's part of Regulation 330. So we can't have quorum without our trustee liaison. And so because we knew that our trustee is also the vice chair for FBAC, and the budget process is very important, and it affects us all within the board, it was very important that we allowed PIAC members who wanted to delegate on behalf of their school or want to be able to hear was able to do so. But PIAC co-chairs sent out a letter dated February 28th and emailed it to the FBAC on March 5th on behalf of PIAC, just asking the, I'll just quickly read the message, the meeting. Dear trustees, as a body that advises you on parent caregivers engagement initiatives, we're fully aware that you have heard through consultations many recommendations from not only parents, caregivers, guardians, but staff, students, and many other education enthusiasts on the importance of funding multiple stakeholders in education. We wanted to gently remind you that parent caregivers are essential stakeholders in education and require support and resources to effectively engage in our board. Hence, we encourage your consideration of our letter as you move through your deliberation. And it was to try and get CSWs, additional CSW to help support our schools. One of the other things that we did was, as co-chairs, Zina and I, we attended a Program and School Services Committee meeting, and we submitted our 5 days schedule report on April 3rd, 2024. We presented what the committee PIAC had voted on for us to submit as a recommendation, and we presented to the Parent and School Services Committee, which otherwise known as PSSC. During that time, after we finished, the trustees who are part of that committee voted to defer this back to defer a recommendation to the TDSB director, since the request falls under TDSB operation and not for Board of Trustees to vote on, for it to become a policy. For March 26, we had expected an update from staff regarding this 5-day cycle. However, due to the March 26 cancellation, we're looking forward to have the presentation done today, April 30th, at our meeting. Just want to remind everyone that as co-reps and CLG, that we're asking you to join at least one working group. Everyone should be joining at least one working group. And that's part of your requirement as being a PIAC co-reps. So if you have not done so, please, we encourage you to join. We have governance working group and non-governance working group. Our governance working group, that means a PIAC co-rep needs to be part of, can join his membership, bylaws, strategic planning, and operational effectiveness, which includes budget and operational matters that are open to all PIAC co-representatives and the CLG representative to PIAC. Our non-governance working groups are communications, special events, school council support, and consultation. We're open to all PIAC co-reps, members, TDSB parents and caregivers, as well as persons from the community. So co-reps, it will be nice if you can reach out and see if any of your parents within your ward is wants to come and see what PIAC is all about and maybe help put their voice at the table at some of our non-governance working group. They're always welcome. And please continue to read and help support our PIAC Post newsletter. This comes out monthly, and the PIAC Post would love to have some information or some input from co-reps as to the different things that should be part of that newsletter to make it very effective and interesting for parents. And on that note, thank you so much. And we'll go on to, does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Hi. Again, it's not a question, just a comment. I would note that it's been 10 weeks since we had our last PIAC meeting. As I said at the exec prior to the canceled of the March 26th meeting, again, we only have a certain number of these meetings per year. We're going to have a very busy agenda today because it stacks up because we didn't have it last time. We have about 8 meetings a year, which is about 16 hours to allow for decision making. I, again, did bring up at the exec meeting, and it was indicated by staff that there was no available dates in April. I just want to note to the membership that I count 15 days where there was no other trustee events occurring, such as meetings and those pieces. And so I find it difficult to believe that the meeting could not have been rescheduled. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to call our trustee to do our trustee report. Matthias, go ahead.
Thank you. So I want to start, first of all, by thanking PIAC for shifting the date. The work you do is important, and it took a lot of roundabouts before we figure out what could happen. I know that maybe the date looked empty on the calendar, but there's lots of other elements that take into consideration space, staffing, time, and so on. But I do appreciate, first of all, PIAC being flexible and adapting to the changing situation. It wasn't the original timeline that the FBEC committee had looked at having. And I think having parents that are in a leadership position participating in the budget process is important. So just wanted to say that. I was going to bring it up before the last comment. So I sent in my report this morning. I'm going to send an updated version because I realized I had a mistake on the dates. I think I was putting 4th for April. I had the wrong date on it, so I'll send it again. Because I was reading it and I shouldn't have sent it without checking for that, but in any case. My report has 2 elements. First of all, I wanted to give a further update on the budget process. And I also wanted to point out that we have now an adopted plan for the multi-year strategic plan for the school board that is being rolled out. If you're not familiar with the plan, it will shape and dictate a significant amount of decisions that the school board takes over time. So I'll go back to a budget. We already had 3 meetings, one of them about an hour ago, finished about an hour ago. And we have one more meeting on Thursday. The location is at the Harvard Collegiate Institute in the library, 6 to 8. That's the last consultation meeting that we're having on the budget. And the reason we're having the budget town halls is because we have not yet approved a budget, a final budget. We wanted to have more consultations because a number of the options that senior staff have presented the school board trustees with are very difficult things that will have a significant impact, some directly on our students and some on other folks, say, for example, seniors and the Learn for Life program. Second element that I had in the report is, again, the multi-year strategic plan. It sets a number of priorities for the school board. It sets a direction in terms of where we're going. There'll be a significant number of changes organizationally for the school board as a result of the rollout of this plan. We hope to see a significant amount of improvements in terms of how adaptive, how responsive the system is. This includes trying to modernize how we do our HR. This includes a number of things around how we respond to the demands of parents and school communities. So I think it's an important step towards trying to modernize a very big, very large organization that often doesn't react in time and doesn't react to the needs and demands of our students for a number of reasons, or at least it has been the criticism sometimes historically. This is the beginning of an attempt to become more nimble, more responsive, and better in order to create a better educational experience for our students. So with that, I submit the report. Happy to take questions, but outside of that, always happy to participate and hear and listen to you folks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Dovetius. Next, I'd like everyone to welcome Director Colleen Russell-Rollins, who will speak to the multi-year strategic plan.
Through you, Co-Chair, we've just heard from the director. She's just a little bit delayed. So she's requesting if you can please move on to the other agenda and return to this item upon her arrival.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, then we go on to the working group reports then. Membership. You have any verbal updates? Jenny?
Yep, I will be doing that. Just give me one moment. So the first thing I just want to let you guys all know, in those who are connected virtually, I've resubmitted, or in the chat, I put an updated link for those who want to do their declaration. The declaration needs to be done once a year within your term. So for September till June. But if your term gets renewed, then you will need to redo your term when you are redeclared your PIAC rep status. I'm just pulling up my thing. Just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay, so we did submit a working report, and I have a cold, so just bear with me. Okay, so we currently have 38 sitting members. We have 7 current vacancies. We have 10 members with expired or expiring terms. And we want to welcome, since our last update, we have had an election. So we have a newly elected PIAC member from Ward 18, and that is Anna. So congratulations and welcome, Anna. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to update. We'll be sending out, we're currently working on some things for everybody. For all new members, if you haven't already received a list of things to sign up for, so that would be for to sign up for the G Drive. You need to fill out a form before you can get access to that. There's the working group sign up sheet, the declaration of membership, which I had just sent the link out. And I think that's all for the start. So, oh, and the WhatsApp group chat if you want to join. If you reach out to either Janice or myself, we can make sure that you guys get all of those links if you haven't already received them, and we can make sure that everything is done for you guys. And I think that's everything. Everything else is in our membership report.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, would you be able to resend the link in the chat, if not already done so that any new members or re-elected PIAC members, PIAC co-reps can fill out that form, that declaration?
Yeah, I just sent it
Perfect,
about 2
perfect.
minutes
Thank
ago,
you.
so I just had to find the more accurate one.
No
So the
problem.
one that went out earlier in the email from Michelle, you can disregard that one. The one that I've sent in the chat is the correct one, and I will connect with everybody. I'll connect with you, Sharon, so that maybe the chair, you guys can send out all the updated links to all the new members.
Thank you. What I did not do is, can I ask the PIAC members who are in the room just to, because I know we have everyone on the, are you guys all online? Are we all online? Okay, can you just quickly say your name and what ward you're from so that our membership, the rest of the members know that you're in the building? Go ahead, you go for it, yeah.
Hi, my name is Musa Alu. I'm from Ward 19.
Thank you.
Crystal Stewart from Ward 6.
Thank you.
I'm a co-rep in Ward 10, Bruce Oyelowo.
Thank you.
Andrew Waters, PIAC liaison.
Good, thank you.
Sarah Ali, Ward 2.
Thank you. And
Janice Barnett, Ward 11.
and also co-chairing with me today. And as you know, I'm Sharon Grant, okay? Co-chair. And in the room, we have, our trustee, Michelle Monroe. Go ahead, execs, go ahead and say who you are.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Addo, System Superintendent for Leadership Development, Employee Engagement, and Continuous Improvement.
Good evening. I'm Uton Robinson, Executive Superintendent for Learning Center 1.
Good evening. It's Shirley Chan, Executive Superintendent for Learning Center 2.
Thank you, everyone. So at least you know who's in the room with us. Go ahead, Janice. Oh, do you have a question? You have a question? Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Andrew, do you have a question?
Sorry, is the membership report done? I have a question about the membership report.
Yes. Do you have any questions about the membership report?
Yeah, just quickly, I see that we have 17 either vacancies or members with expiring or expired terms. That accounts for approximately 40% of our membership. What are we doing to try to get elections going to ensure that those are filled? And I do note that we have members that have been in expired terms and actually achieved an entire expired term, which means they did 2 years past what their election term was. So like this is concerning. Like we need to be able to have elections to get members in, right?
Okay, I'll answer that. Thanks for bringing that forward, Andrew. We will work. We have sent out a message into our trustees asking for them to hold ward elections, and we will continue to work on getting our trustees to hold the elections. I will work with membership. We'll check and see what PIAC members or co-reps who have expired terms, and then we have to be cognizant and work towards getting that resolved. However, having an expired term, if the PIAC co-rep decides to continue, they can continue in the exact same capacity and can vote until an election is run. Okay, go ahead.
So I'd just like to add that we are actively pursuing the trustees that have not hosted a recent election to fill their wards. It's not, there's a lot of work going on in the background. This is not being left just to sit. We will be revisiting this at the end of May. We've asked all the trustees to respond and to update the membership by the end of May, and then we will re-examine the situation and then move forward with that.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. You can go introduce the next working group.
All right, thanks, Jenny. So we will move on to our next working group, and that's the School Council Support Working Group. I believe Sarah is here to speak to that. Or Kadeen, and Kadeen will be, and we do have a motion, so if you could all give your attention to the School Council Working Group report.
So it's school council first. So Melanie's online with her motion?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Do you want me to go through the report first or go through the motions?
Your choice. You can quickly go through the report. A motion was also submitted to the general membership, so you should have had time to review the motion. Once Melanie speaks about the motion, we're not going to take a lot of time because we just need to ensure that you have your questions, and we're going to be trying to go forward. We need to hard stop at 9:30 today. Go ahead, Melanie.
Okay, so the report was submitted. We had senior staff come to both our meetings in March and April. We had very productive conversations with them. So you can read about it in the report. So one was about, the first conversation was about principal training to support school councils. The other one was about IT, about mostly about school councils' emails not working. Okay, yeah, everything else you can see. Oh, I will say that I'll mention that the ward outreach funding, we discussed the parameters and we're gonna defer the implementation to next fall. Okay, so I will go through the motions. So, they're pretty straightforward. So one is a motion, letter to the Ministry of Education to update the school council handbook. So the handbook was last updated in 2002, so over 2 decades ago. So we're actually, this motion is asking if we can write a letter to the Ministry of Education. So it's not to the TDSB, it's the Ministry of Education, to ask them to update the school councils, a guide for members, to just update their, oh my gosh, their guide. So that's the first motion. Do you want me to go one at a time, Sharon? And we have
Yes,
to
please go
vote,
ahead and
or
read it. Thanks.
read the whole motion? Okay. The Ministry of Education School Councils, a guide for members, is a valuable tool for school councils. The handbook was last updated in 2002, over 2 decades ago, and is missing several key pieces to assist school councils, specifically around electronic communication and parent involvement committees. So this motion is to, one, to better serve Ontario and TDSB school council support working group requests that PIAC co-chairs send a letter of recommendation to the Minister of Education requesting that their school councils, a guide for members, be updated. Specifically, PIAC should request updates that include the use of digital tools and reference to PICs, parent involvement committees. 2, school council support working group also suggests that PIAC co-chairs bring this advocacy item to OPICA for other Ontario PICs to consider. So that's the first one. Should I move on to the second, or we want to vote on this?
Let's go through this first one. And is your motion all one to be voted on? I think we should break it up.
Okay.
Let's talk about this first motion first, and then your second. So,
Point of order. Someone has to second it. I'll second it.
oh, I was about to ask. Would, sorry? Yeah, but we'll open it up for discussion, yeah. So anyone would like to second this motion?
I'll do that.
Okay,
Jenny,
so we have someone in the room, Yusuf and, Musa in the room. So Musa, who's right here? Okay. Okay, so we open up the floor for discussion. Any questions from our reps? I'm good. Mercy?
Mercy, go ahead. You have a question?
Can you put the motion on the screen? Thank you.
We can't hear you, Mercy.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you put the motion on the screen, please? Thank you.
Okay, we're doing that now.
Thank you.
Okay, Mercy, it's up. Are you good with any other questions?
No, no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to hand over the chair to you, Janice. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we can proceed with a consent vote on this item. So if we have 3 or more co-reps that are requesting a roll call vote, if you could make that known to us. One moment, please.
Okay, the point number 2, the request for co-chair to bring the advocacy item to OPECA for other Ontario picks to consider. I'm wondering if we can withdraw this for now. We have not had a OPECA meeting, and it is not, OPECA is not a mandatory meeting, please. So we can have it there, but we have not met in a long time. So we have to outreach to the other picks. Okay.
So can we not?
Can we edit the motion then that there's some kind of a strategic plan to bring it to them
Yeah.
rather than just disregard it or put it on hold?
A point of order.
What are we at?
So,
Andrew.
Janice, like you've already started the vote. So we're in the voting phase. There's no amending. We need to finish the vote.
Sorry, Andrew, my co-chair misunderstood when I had handed over the co-chair to her. I wanted to speak on this. So sorry, Janice, I didn't speak for her, okay? And that's the only concern I have for the school council. We have not met in a long time. And so OPECA was, for the other Ontario picks, was something that was put together by one of the picks from the Catholic School Board. It's not a mandatory meeting place. So my only concern is that if this motion is going forward, for us to bring this advocacy, we have to figure our way through this as co-chairs, because we don't have a general. Go ahead.
Michelle, you have a comment?
Through you, Chair, I just wanted to echo the member's comment that we had started the vote. So because we had started the vote, we have to move forward with the vote. And saying that, please note that while we may not be aware of the status of OPICA right now, we are able to access the other picks. As the co-chairs of PIAC, you will be able to communicate or share this motion with the other picks, which are technically the same representatives who would be at the OPICA meeting. So you would not be in any way contravening this recommendation.
Thank you.
All right, so returning to where we left off, this will be a consent vote. However, if 3 or more reps do indicate that they would like a roll call, if you could indicate that to us right now, either in the room with your hand up or online with your hand up, please. All right, so no one has indicated that, and in that case, this motion will pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to the next
Okay,
motion
so
then.
go ahead, Melanie, with the other motion?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So this motion is to request a direct link parents tab. So to better access to school council information on the TDSB website. The motion is 1, to better serve the parents and caregivers of the TDSB in searching for school council resources. PIAC recommends that TDSB add a direct link button in the parents and caregivers tab to the school council's section of their external website. 2, we also recommend that the direct link buttons in the parents and caregivers tab be rearranged to prioritize parent engagement by placing school council information, mental health and well-being resources, PIAC, get engaged, special education, and questions and concerns closest to the top. So the rationale is the TDSB external website remains challenging for parents and caregivers to navigate. In 2018, PIAC successfully lobbied for a parent tab to be added to the homepage, now called Parents and Caregivers, to provide simple, direct links to key areas, including mental health resources. The PCCEO has created a consensus resource for all things school councils under the How to Get Involved section of the website. To find this from the Parents and Caregivers tab, users would need to know to click the Get Engaged button to go to and select, and still have to search down the menu for school council information. This complicated navigation is a barrier to parents and caregivers searching for information about school councils. It would be more useful to users looking for this information on the TDSB site to have a direct link to the school council page. For references, TDSB multi-year strategic plan under community engagement, build strong relationships and partners with school committees, enhance representation and functioning of school councils ongoing to improve and increase parent access to TDSB resources. Thank you.
All right, so that motion was put forth by Melanie, and if we can have a seconder.
Ward 1 will second.
Ward 1,
Yes.
thank you. And who, oh, that's Erin. Okay, and so we'll open the floor for questions now before we vote. Michelle?
Through you, Chair, not question, just a commentary for the committee. Just a quick update that my office has been in regular communication with our communications and our actually all webs team, and we're having that conversation now as to how we can better make those two connections. I believe the school council committee had raised this item with us before, so I had already begun that conversation with the all web team, so it is in progress. Where the moment we realized that we started shifting one link, it had connections to other URLs. So what we thought was a simple cleanup required much more extensive work in the cleanup. And so that's ongoing. I can't commit that it will be done by the end of this school year, but it will be ready for the fall.
Thank you, Michelle. That's good news. Yeah. Any other questions?
Are there any other questions regarding this vote? All right, so again, we can move forward with this through a consent vote. If we have 3 or more members that would like a roll call vote, please make that known to us by raising your hand either in the room or online. All right, there are no hands raised, so that motion passes. Sharon?
Sorry, Melanie, do you have any other motion, or that's the 2?
Nope, no other motions,
Okay,
just if
all right.
anyone has a question about the school council support working group report. Report, if anyone has any questions on the actual report. No.
Okay.
Just the only thing, and probably is going to be under the governance, but it will be the deferral of the engagement, the $500 for each PIAC rep. So just reminding that. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So Melanie and your school council support working group, amazing job. Thank you so much. And thank you, members, for putting forward these motion and passing them. So we'll ensure that it's done.
Just a quick, we'd just like to thank Shirley and Dr. Houghton for attending our school council support group and answering a lot of difficult questions. So we appreciate that. Thank you for that.
And now I'd like to acknowledge that our director of our school of TDSB, Colleen Russell Rollins, is here, and would like to welcome her. She would like to present on the multi-year strategic plan. Welcome, Director.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to just move one of the chairs. Don't get to see people in person that often, so I just want to pull you.
Oh, move the chair away.
I moved the wrong chairs, but I'll peek around. I'll peek around. Good evening again, and thank you very much for creating some time on your very full agenda to hear about an update on our multi-year strategic plan. Elizabeth and I are here tonight to share this plan with you in advance of sharing it with our principals and vice principals tomorrow. That was intentional on my part. For two reasons. A, because PIAC and parents were an incredible resource in informing the directions within the new multi-year strategic plan. And so to really respect your input, we wanted to share the outcome here first with you. And secondly, we know that we have been working toward having greater parental, guardian, and caregiver input into the multi-year strategic plan at the school level. And so with that, we really wanted to provide you with the resources as well as the insights to support school councils as well as parents, guardians, and caregivers to be more aware and informed about where we are headed through our multi-year strategic plan and what they can expect with respect to the school improvement plan. Again, thank you all for your input into the new multi-year strategic plan. We hope that you find the new revised version that was passed by board more accessible to parents, more understandable, and clear in terms of what it is we are working toward with you, your children, and the educators and staff across the TDSB. So I'll ask Elizabeth to begin the presentation, and we're happy to take any questions and comments at the end.
Thank you very much, Director. And as we move through the slide deck, thanks so much, Manshu. We are very happy, as we shared last time, to be invited back to PIAC, a very important CAC. And at this time, we are sharing that over 8,000 individuals and groups were able to participate in the forming of the multi-year strategic plan. So not only did we gather information through the online survey, through ward forums, but we were very intentional in our design in ensuring that we are engaging communities, parents, and guardians and families whose sometimes voices have been has been not heard or surveyed in the way that we want them to. So we were very intentional with that. And so if we go to the next slide, please. So this is just a big thank you on behalf of the chair and Colleen Russell Rollins for your participation and your support in leading us to the version of the multi-year strategic plan. On the next slide, I'm very excited to share a video that gives an overview of the multi-year strategic plan. So I'll just ask that to be queued up and sit back and relax. Thank you very much. And this video is available on the website for easy access as well. As you can see, as we approach the next slide, and as you saw in the video, we have a strong commitment to truth and reconciliation, the calls to action. That video just wants to keep coming back. As one of the largest school boards within the province and one of the most diverse school systems in TDSB, we are really committed to equity as a guiding principle, and it's explicitly connected to all the strategic directions of belong, achieve, thrive, and revitalize. And so as you can see from this model, we are committed to students, and this, as our trustee said, provides a pathway forward for their next 4 years. As we advance to the next slide, we know that the conditions of success that are identified are factors that contribute to our ability to realize the strategic directions within the multi-year strategic plan. And as you can see, partnering with parents, caregivers, guardians, and community is one of our key conditions for success. We know that our relationships and students' relationships with parents, caregivers, or guardians is key and more important and very important. We also know that when there's a culture of human rights and respect in schools, classrooms, and departments, we are able to move through the strategic directions outlined in the multi-year strategic plan. When we are able to foreground accessibility and inclusion, when our leaders are strategic in action and thinking, that they're agile, they're ethical in terms of their leadership, these all help create the conditions to realize the strategic directions. We know communication with both internal and external partners are really important, and what is articulated in the conditions for success is the importance of the two-way conversation so that we are also listening and receiving with our educational partners. So as we move on to the next slide, so what does this all mean for schools? So we have a renewed multi-year strategic plan. We know that the school improvement planning process is the tool that that transforms student learning and the conditions for students in the classrooms. So school improvement plans will be aligned with the strategic directions. So there will be a goal with Indigenous education that shows our commitment to truth and reconciliation and the calls to actions. A goal connected to how students feel a sense of belonging within our schools and classrooms. Student achievement, so ensuring that that is a clear focus within the school improvement planning process, and a goal that connects with Thrive. Again, equity is a guiding principle, and it's embedded in explicit ways in the strategic directions of belong, achieve, and thrive. What you see here on the screen before you is an example of what could be potentially a school improvement planning goal for a school. So it speaks about the who, the newcomers that are in the school, the what through an affinity group with older students who may have similar experience to the students who are new to the country. And what we like to do is to provide some support in an affinity group, host monthly events, so that we can have increased the student sense of belonging by 5% or 10%. Next slide, please. Also, with the school improvement planning process, we know that our indicators for success match our student achievement plan indicators. And so school teams will be able to monitor the progress from how they're doing based on the 11 indicators. So belonging has indicators that speak to students' attendance in schools, the suspension rates, for examples, and their understanding of their awareness of mental health and well-being. And when we're talking about achieve, we're looking at this stage, how students achieve their success in terms of literacy, numeracy, mathematics in grade 9, and the OSSLT. And in terms of the area of Thrive, we look about students earning 16 credits by 16, our ability for students to be enrolled in a grade 12 math course or grade 11 or 12 science course, and just getting a sense of their ability to engage in courses that are connected to job skills program. So they're very explicit way schools will be able to monitor their success through these 11 indicators here. On the next slide, you'll see that as we do the work across the Toronto District School Board, we have many math plans and strategies. So we have a math strategy, a literacy strategy that's in development. We have a capital revitalization strategy, combating hate and racism that's dealing with students and combating hate and racism, and mental health strategy. All these plans and strategies will help undergird the implementation of the multi-year strategic plan. So on the next slide, you'll take a look at just providing one sample of the mathematics, and Manshu, you can go through all the clicks, please. And so what would this look like in terms of schools and classrooms? So will be a focus on professional learning that will help educators, teachers in the schools to be able to build up their understanding about mathematics, the contents, and how to assess to make sure that we're addressing the needs of all students. That the work that we're doing, we are monitoring it consistently with ongoing data through school and system level improvement planning. That the lessons that are designed in the school are culturally relevant and responsive. And you can see the intersectionality. When we know that lessons are culturally responsive and identity affirming, it helps students see themselves in the work and the studies that they're doing. That school and system leader learning supports instructional leadership and monitoring and progress, which is then connected to ensuring that there are high-yield instructional strategies that are used in the classroom. We know that digital literacy is a key component of the work that we do, so all those pieces together will help undergird the mathematics and student achievement. And again, we're here today in PIAC, and we always recognize the importance that family and caregiver engagement has in terms of supporting student achievement. And if you do a few more clicks, you'll get to the end. Thank you. So where are we now on the next slide? We know that the provincial priorities that are outlined in the Student Achievement Plan, there are 3 priorities around student achievement, preparing students for future success, and student engagement and well-being. On the website link there, tdsb.on.ca.sap, where provides an outline of how we are progressing in terms of those 3 areas as outlined in the multi-year strategic plan. It is very visible and transparent, so please take a look at some of the information and the actions that we have in that area. So for example, on the next slide, you will see on that website that for grade 3 reading, writing, and mathematics, it provides information about what the provincial performance is in terms of those areas for grade 3 EQAO, and it identifies how TDSB is performing against those provincial standards. Additionally, you can see the data for the OSSLT that happened in grade 10, as well as mathematics for grade 3, 6, and 9. So provincial performances as well as how we're doing. So this is available on the website that parents, caregivers, and community members are able to monitor the progress of the multi-year strategic plan over the next 4 years. So what's coming up next? So posters will be delivered to schools and departments by June 2024, and we're asking department leaders and principals to display those in very prominent areas, as well as the website is a key area to go for additional information and tools that will help leaders and parents, caregivers, and guardians find out more information about the multi-year strategic plan. So we are open to additional questions, and I'll turn it over to the director.
Thank you very much for that overview, Elizabeth, and more importantly for your leadership in working with communities, the Board of Trustees, and staff to help achieve a revised multi-year strategic plan. For PIAC members, I invite you to circulate the video with respect to the revised multi-year strategic plan goals with school councils and to parents. We will also be asking principals and vice principals to do that as well. Please take note of the indicators that were aligned to belong, achieve, and thrive. Those indicators, if they apply to the school where your children attend, should become visible to you in the fall. We are building a new data system so that you could actually see the percentage of students graduating who have taken an apprenticeship or any of the 11 indicators. Our goal is to try and make that information more visible to parents through the back-end systems that we are creating. We will also do something that I think we did together many years ago, which we tried to create a cycle of how to engage school councils in the school improvement plan so that our principals had kind of a roadmap for touch points with the school council and to seek input, and that's our goal, to create one of those for the fall as schools revisit their school improvement goals and align them to the 4 areas of belong, achieve, thrive, and revitalize. Belonging comes first because our students are telling us that when they feel that they belong at school, and that they're respected and seen by the adults and caregivers in the school, they are more likely to achieve and engage in classroom programs. So that was intentionally placed first. And of course, achievement. We want all of our students to have many options for what they do with the rest of their life after secondary school. And we think that the actions that will be developed at a system level to support each of the 3 pillars will help us to ensure that students, many more students, not only graduate, but have a number of different pathways that they can take after they leave secondary school. So we welcome any questions or feedback that you have, and as well as director, as I begin with the team to develop our district level strategies and our district plan. I would welcome any feedback from PIAC around a couple of actions that you think are especially important for us to consider as part of that district level plan. The only sort of proviso that I would ask you to consider is that one of the differences between this plan and the plan that existed in 2017, 2018, is that it will be much more succinct. And in that way, we can be more intentional and focused and align our resources to achieve the goals that we have identified. So thank you, and welcome any feedback. Back over to you, Chair. Welcome. We're happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Director. And Superintendent, System Superintendent Addo. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have a question from June in Ward 13. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Director and Elizabeth. I have two questions. One is that the measures and the results, the benchmarking is related to provincial performance. So I'm wondering that do you just compare the performance with other school boards, or like within TDSB, like among different wards? And the second question is relating to the multi-year strategic planning, because as for PIAC, we are also doing the strategic planning this year, and we are trying to prioritize our strategic goal based on TDSB's multi-year strategic planning, because I think we are partners. We try to align with your goals and to try to help the parents and also be act as a good role as a bridge. So along with the process, I remember I have seen that the priorities of the 6 goals, but the final plan, I can see that there are 6 themes without any priorities there. And I attended the budget town hall meeting this afternoon, and it said that the fund will be spent based on the priorities of the strategic planning, the strategic goals. So it seems that it's important that to let us know what is the priority of these 6 themes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your questions. Our next step is to develop district-level priorities that align with the Ministry of Education's 11 indicators. For the first time ever, the Ministry of Education has actually identified the 3 priorities that boards must adopt. Those are within their student achievement plan, and they've identified 11 data sets that we must show or work towards showing improvement in. So there will be additional priorities for our board, but a good place to start is with those 3 Ministry of Education priorities. With respect to comparing other TDSB performance on the EQAO math test at grades 3, 6, 9, and 10, we have not compared them to other district school boards. Rather, our reference point is the provincial average. And that is also an expectation of the Ministry of Education.
And we have one more question from Ward 16. Eden, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Eden Hagos, Ward 16 co-rep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So my question is just around the indicators that were spoken of that would be available to families in the school community. Given that the TDSB is one of the front runners for collecting race-based data, and given that we know that there are inequities based on race, especially for Black and Indigenous communities, I'm wondering whether the data that's being made available and the data sets that were referenced will include data that shows the ways in which intersectional identities are impacting outcomes.
Thank you very much for the question. We do have an amazing data team. Where possible, yes, we will be providing a breakdown of achievement towards these indicators, looking at students' intersectional identities. We don't have it across all data sets, but where we do, that information would be available through your local school.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Andrew, go ahead.
Thank you. Not a question, just a comment. The SIP, or School Improvement Plan, for the past number of years, both at the school that my children attend and hearing from lots of different parents and caregivers, there is inconsistency. And the other thing that many parents have expressed to me, because they have workplaces that have strategic plans that that are multi-year in nature, and it appears the school improvement plan, it starts fresh every fall, and then there's new indicators that get brought in, and then at some point, it either we get some results or whatever happens, and at the end of the years it just kind of tails off, and then we just start fresh each year. So I would hope, and I think what a lot of parents and caregivers are looking for is that at the school level, those improvement plans align with a multi-year approach, so that it's not this sort of continual, hamster wheel that I myself have experienced. And again, like currently, I have an amazing principal. But again, there are like 600 schools, there's a lot of inconsistencies, and hopefully, having this new multi-year plan can really, translate it down to the schools, and hopefully some accountability and some either dashboards or communication, so parents have confidence.
Thank you. May I respond, please? Hi, Andrew. Good to see you. Accept all of the feedback. There is still inconsistency between and among schools. We find the tension between wanting to update the plan annually, because that is sort of a requirement of the Ministry of Education, but it is not an attempt to change everything in the plan on an annual basis. To really go deep and see sustained improvement, we know that that has to happen over a many-year period, a multi-year period. So we will continue to work on that. We hope through the development of an electronic template that there will be greater consistency in format, in content, in alignment to goals, but yet the opportunity to personalize it to the local school and student needs. So we are working on those aspects, and thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And we will take one more comment. And I'm sorry, Kadeen, yes, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. Kadeen, Ward 8 here. And just noting that I started the meeting on the phone and now I'm in the building. I thought I should declare that to everybody online. Thank you very much for the presentation. And also know that we had the pleasure to host a system superintendent, Otto, a couple of times for this conversation. So thank you for the update as well. Two things that had come up previously, at least having this conversation, and maybe you can remind members, how would we find outcomes or successes, if you will, from previous, at least the most recent multi-year strategic plan? That seemed to be a conversation that we had. How will we have known how things were achieved and whether those pillars, and other changes have occurred? And so how would parents be able to access that, one? Second, I just also wanted to know, what can parents expect, or parents, caregivers, forgive me, expect to see in the school buildings, or see or feel, if you will, relative to the multi-year strategic plan, let's say for next school year? Because reports tend to be reports. They live kind of and exist outside of our experiences, and then we always wonder, well, if we did all this time inputting into this report, how has this translated into what we experience inside of our school buildings, or our children experience in the buildings? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. I will answer the first question and then turn to my colleague Elizabeth to answer the second question. The update on our prior multi-year strategic plan can be found in many different places. So there isn't one sort of summary or close-out report. The reason for that is twofold. In
In 2018, the previous Vision for Learning multi-year strategic plan was adopted. The report backs on the multi-year strategic plan were put into different reports. So there was a literacy report, there was a math report, there was a anti-racism report, there was a secondary achievement report. Those are the places where you can track the improvements. For example, there was an academic pathways report. So that's where the progress towards the multi-year strategic plan can be found. I think we need to take note that as we close out this plan in 4 years, we probably need a summary document before we go through the process of developing a new plan in 4 years. The other component is that the pandemic happened in 2020. And as a result, a new plan, a sort of addendum, if you will, was developed, and that was called the Pandemic Recovery Plan, and that was passed in 2021. And so there are reports associated with the Pandemic Recovery Plan that also have data sets that align with the goals that were in the prior multi-year strategic plan and in the goals of the Pandemic Recovery Plan.
Thank you very much, and that's a very good question. And so I think it will be engaging all of your senses. And so as you walk into the schools, what sort of work and artifacts do you see on the wall that are explicitly connected to a student's self of well-being, their identity affirming, mathematics and literacy, for example, that are done in a diverse amount of way that will have, that we know that high yield instructional strategies are being used. I think another way that one might know about how the multi-year strategic plan is living in the school is through students' sense of joy and belonging, so they feel good, that they want to go to school, that their attendance is up, perhaps suspension rates have been reduced, and that teachers are working collaboratively in teams, and that parents are being invited to engage in the school improvement planning process so that you're understanding what their goals are for this current school year and in being invited in to be partners as part of the school improvement planning goals. So that would be a couple of ways to, how do you feel, see, and hear.
Can I also add that, your children are amazing. We want them to be able to say, you know what, our school's working to help us belong, achieve, and thrive. And if we're really good, they'll be able to actually articulate how their classroom teacher and or the educators in the school are supporting them to feel a sense of belonging, achievement, and thriving. That's my goal.
Thank you. And our final question goes to Musa, Ward 19. Go ahead.
Thank you. Two questions. Food security for students. After pandemic, the costs have risen very significantly, not just significantly. It's been crazy. A lot of families have been falling through cracks, and through my experience in the school council and interacting with my children's schools, I found out that a lot of kids, they are going hungry while they're in school. And comparing our board, excuse me, with other countries, second world countries, not third world, second world countries, we are very far behind in food security for our students. And nothing is being done in this regard. It's very important that we spare some focus for this. Other question is, the help that the students need, I don't think they're getting it. They're not getting enough. There is a lot of shortcoming shortfall in terms of tutors, students. Even with the principals, they are not willing to provide numbers. There is a lack of sort of accountability when the principals are asked for numbers at the schools. They don't want to share that. They are worried, I guess, about the performance in their schools. And last couple of years, math students in high school, their grades have been falling very badly. If you have the numbers, then I assume you do, then you should be able to see the levels falling very rapidly, especially after COVID, after the lockdown. Right? So there needs to be an urgent requirement to pay attention to the high school students who are going to graduate. Thank you.
Would you like to respond? Or
I would,
okay.
thank you. I will be brief because I know you were on your agenda. Thank you very much for that feedback. I will start with the more difficult response, and that's with respect to food insecurity. It is a prevalent issue across communities, more intensely felt in some communities. Historically underserved communities are feeling it even more, but there are students in all of our schools who are facing food insecurity. Just prior to the federal government's announcement about a national school food program, the Board of Trustees received a report that actually looked at city funding, board funding, and provincial funding for student nutrition programs. The intention is to develop strategies to augment what is currently in place so that either more meals or across greater number of schools, food can be served during the day. There is a second part to what our board has asked us to do, which is to develop strategies to expand food programming. Our first step is to actually see the details of the National School Food Program announced a couple of months ago, and then to build our strategy to improve off of that if that turns out not to meet all of the needs. So that is where we are headed, and we share your concern about how the rising costs and the economic situation is having an impact on students and families. So hope to have more information and would be happy to share that information with PIAC when we have a strategy that we're putting together. The second, with respect to transparency of information with parents, I think that's why we need to put together a cycle of what gets shared when, and to also build public dashboards where the information is accessible so that parents are able to access it more easily. That is ultimately our goal. With respect to providing additional help for students, there are some strategies in place, but we recognize it's not meeting the needs of all students. And so thank you for that feedback. It is an area that we need greater improvement. I do want to provide some reassurance in that in our last look at our data, at grade 9 and 10, the number of students actually passing, which would never have been a good enough response to my mother. I was passing a course. She would have wanted me to do better than that. So I recognize as parents, guardians, and caregivers, passing is not the benchmark that we hold for our children. But the number of students actually being successful in gaining their grade 9 and 10 academic math credit has actually increased. I can't speak to the secondary as confidently, so I'm going to take that question back, but I do want to assure you that we are looking at some of the indicators and trying to align our resources and supports to where we know students are struggling. So Thank you for that feedback, and the team and I will go back and do further work.
Thank you, Director. One thing I'm going to say as a co-chair is I'm appreciative of all what my co-reps have spoken about, and I needed to add, especially for food insecurities. I know you have the multi-year strategic plan, but we speak about it now, current April 30th, 2024. What about April 30th, 2027? Right? Will what we say here, if it's not documented, will our future leaders on the ground know what they're supposed to be doing in addition to what's under support? So I'm asking, is there any opportunity to add some of this stuff on there that we've spoke about so that in 2 years or 3 years, it is documented as the request? The other thing is that during this whole thing, I realized PIAC is a legislative body, and I don't see a lot of, I know that we talk, I'm not giving you a hard time, Director, because I respect you a lot, but I don't see it saying in collaboration with. PIAC needs to be extremely involved as a parent voice through this whole journey and this whole process. But we don't see it. We only hear about like student staff, but we don't hear about really the parents that in collaboration with. Again, 2027, what is the leadership at the school level going to be saying? It's not in the strategic plan, so perhaps we don't need to talk to your parents. What can we do to fix that? It needs to be documented. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the feedback. There was a lot of conversation about whether to have parents, guardians, and caregivers and our engagement with you as a strategic direction or as a condition. We believe it's a condition for success. And that's why it is stated as such. We can't achieve these goals without you. So happy to think about how to further strengthen that in our actions, but I don't want to negate the importance of actually publicly saying it's not a goal, it's not something to be checked off, it's an ongoing condition for success, like air, water. Okay. It's a condition that we need to thrive. Similarly, food insecurity and addressing food insecurity is part of thriving. So if our board plan as well as our school improvement plans could have something connected to food security and other aspects of the feedback that you've provided. We will be creating a district level plan, but as I mentioned earlier, there will be a few actions in those plans because the really important work happens in schools to achieve the multi-year strategic plan. As a district, we kind of create the conditions, the context, the resources, but the important work happens at a school. So we're really trying to ensure that schools have what they need in order to ensure students are more engaged, joyful, and that is the foundation for their achievement and their success. So always happy to take feedback from PIAC. I look forward to coming back in the fall and having a discussion about what our district level strategies look like.
Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I'd like to thank Director Colleen Russell-Rollins and Superintendent Elizabeth Addo for taking time out of their evening to address our meeting, and we're very appreciative of this, and we look forward to further collaboration with you. Thank you.
So we're going to go on to a working group We're going back to a working group updates. Communication working group. There should be a verbal update. Go ahead, communication. Seema?
Hi, sorry there. Yes, just a quick verbal update. Our website traffic's up, so that's great. And we do have a motion that's part of the operational effectiveness group to request funding to update the content on our website, as well as the PDFs to make them AOTA compliant. So that request will be coming through shortly. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for communications? Anyone? No. Okay. On to consultation. Is Kadeen or Sarah? Kadeen, go ahead.
Okay, thanks everyone. Consultations working group, we've had some pretty interesting conversations over the last month. This is just a general update before we move into the motions that we have to put forward. But just to say that we've really been thinking through and exploring what it means for us as a consultations to really understand where our PIAC membership is at more intently and closely, and being able to use this understanding and just a sense of what folks' experience has been like, what the needs are, and opportunities for us to improve and just enhance the engagement of our members. And part of this learning will also help us, or can help to inform our strategic planning work that we know is in its early stages. And also really trying, I guess, to reframe or reestablish what it means for us as members to be consulted, some of what our expectations are, and how we'd like to work more intentionally with the board. Any gaps that we experience around the consultation and process, or limitations that we have as members, also influences or inhibits, if you will, our ability to engage our communities, our school community. So we're just kind of been generally having those conversations. And then, of course, exploring other kind of updated policies that are coming forward through the board and up for approval soon. So with that, let's see, maybe I will go to the first motion that we have included in the report before we get into the fundraising or the revised fundraising policy. We just like to, the consultations working groups request the agreement of PIAC members to form an ad hoc survey committee to develop and implement an internal consultation process and to collect feedback from PIAC members in support of our strategic planning process. So for us, one, the goal of the strategic planning process for 2024 moving forward is to redefine PIAC purpose and values and establish firm practices to improve implementing and actioning our priorities aligned with the priorities of the TDSB through the multi-year strategic plan. And thank you, June, for just mentioning that earlier. And also the timeframe for this consultation process will include May to June 2024 for full report back to PIAC members in September 2024. So we are just seeking the agreement of the members to commence that work, as well as to form some kind of smaller working committee that can begin to develop this process, the questions, et cetera, and work closely with our strategic planning team to be able to do that.
Thank you, Katie. Just for clarification, before you're asking the buy-in from the membership, so when consultation outreach to the greater group, we answer the survey. That's basically what you're asking for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, if we decide that the survey is not the sole method to be able to engage our members, that folks are aware and have given us at least some permission that they're willing to participate, with the understanding that this is going to inform our strategic planning work as well.
So this motion was moved by Kadeen. Who would like to second?
I'll second Melanie, Ward 9.
Sorry, Ward? Ward 9, okay. And then we're open for discussion.
Apologies, Chair. Who seconded the motion? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Ward, Melanie Ward.
Melanie Ward 9.
Thank you.
And so the floor is now open for discussion. For any clarification that you would need, any questions?
There are no questions?
Okay, just again, as I'll just like to reiterate, the motion is for ourselves to agree as a team, as a group, to respond to any queries coming through the consultation working group. Without us, they can't move forward with the work that they need to do, and the survey will be coming. So we are, and I'm agreeing with, and I like that consultation working group did this, because now we are going to agree that we will support this process. So without, if anyone has no questions, then we're going to, since this is a non-governance work, oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Alice.
Thank you. I just wanted to know if we could just know how that would look like. So when a query would come in, then we would all, like if she could just expand it a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Alice, for the question. It's probably safe to say it's not clearly outlined exactly what that will look like right now. First step is we'd like to form just a smaller committee or working team, forgive me if it's not a committee, a group of some sort that would begin the development around what the questions would be and what the process would look like more intentionally. We've kind of been generally having it, thinking about how it would connect to strategic planning, but haven't yet kind of taken that step. And certainly just wanted to know that we have the support of members to be able to do that. It may be safe to say that at next meeting we'll have a better update to be able to answer what the process looks like.
Sorry, so this is a ad hoc committee within the consultation working group? Yeah. But we don't have enough members, is that correct? Do we have enough members within our working group consultation?
Within the consultations, yes, we've been having good attendance of community members as well. I think at least the last 2 meetings, we've had at least 10 or more people attending for the conversation, so it's been.
Okay, so that group, out of that group, we have an ad hoc and then outreach to regular members?
Yeah, and it just means that we can meet in between the working group meetings, probably just spend our time focused on what we want to find out, how we're going to ask the questions, et cetera. So very much a working group.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, this is okay, go ahead, Michelle.
Just through you, Chair, before you go to the vote, may I just request that the motion be repeated? I just want to make sure I've captured it accurately. Thank you.
No problem.
It's also in our notes. So the consultation working group requests the agreement of PIAC members to form an ad hoc survey committee to develop and implement an internal consultation process, collecting feedback from PIAC members in support of our strategic planning process. And then the kind of 2 sub-bullets are that the goal of this strategic planning process moving forward is to redefine PIAC purpose, values, and establish firm practices to improve implementing and actioning our priorities aligned with the multi-year strategic plan priorities of TDSB. And the time frame for this consultation process will include May to June 2024 for a report back to PIAC members in September 2024.
Sorry, Kadeen, is this part of strategic planning or this is consultation? Because they're 2 different working groups.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to undertake the work in consultations.
Okay.
Strategic planning is doing their own work to pull together this separately.
All right, okay, thank you. No other questions? No further questions? Okay, so since consultation working group is a non-governance working group, if we need a recorded vote, we need 3 or more PIAC members. And if you want to see a recorded vote, please put your hand up if you're here in the building, or put your hand up online.
We have a question from Christopher. He wants to know if there's a draft of the motion to put up on the screen.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't prepare
Michelle?
one, so it's in the notes, in the meeting
No, oh, no, we'll get Michelle to do that, Katie. Michelle,
Through
can
you,
you put the
Chair.
draft of the motion up?
Through you, Chair, I was trying to locate it. This is why I requested. Is it within your actual report?
Yes, that was shared.
Okay, so I can post the actual report, Chair.
It's page 204. It's on report page 204.
Munchu, would you let me share? Your guidance would be appreciated, Kadeen.
Yes.
Am I in the right meeting?
And it'll just be under the, the rows or the column that's noted motion, so down. This is just the update. If you continue to scroll down.
Right there?
Oh, you just passed it. There it is, right there. The first one and then the second one.
Chris, all good? Thumbs up? All right. So I'd asked before if any member wanted a recorded vote. I didn't see any hands in the room or online, and see that there is no requirement for recorded vote based on members asking. This motion passed by consensus. Thank you, Katie. Do you have another motion?
Yes, and sorry, this one will probably take more time. I didn't anticipate the first one would. So you will find in the, also in our report, and then supported with some attachments of, more detailed report that speaks to our recommendations related to improving the draft of the revised fundraising policy. That's P021 as it relates to school councils. And this was a conversation for us. We're aware that it is coming before the board or the revised policy. This work was undertaken, I believe, last year, had started at the end of last school year, to revise the fundraising policy and language related to systems priorities funding, as well as school council's ability to use online commerce platforms. So yes, absolutely, this should be on the screen. Do you need me to read the entire motion? What we are requesting is recommendations that will improve the revised fundraising policy, which is going before the board. And the recommendations relate to the revisions of the policy, to the creation of a systems priority fund, and banning of school council's ability to use online commerce platforms to facilitate their fundraising efforts. So what we are requesting, motions to the TDSB, is that the TDSB adopt a fundraising policy that contains language specifically concerning a system priorities fund, but that the fund be directed equitably to school councils who are able to fundraise due to socioeconomic status instead of TDSB staff. And so the current draft report says that these funds would be allocated or, decided upon, by TDSB staff, and we're requesting that the language say that these funds be directed equitably to school councils who are struggling or unable to fundraise due to socioeconomic status. So as an example language from this item, which is 6.2.1 in the draft, could read, to facilitate improved equity among resources among schools with different socio and economic status. A system priorities fund will be maintained for designated donations from external sources and or voluntarily directed funds generated by school communities. The funds will be allocated to school councils equitably based on each school council's ability to fundraise based on the socioeconomic status of school communities. One, and then second,
I will second it, June from Ward City.
Sorry, our second motion on this is that the TDSB not adopt a fundraising policy that contains language in the draft where school councils cannot have their own external bank accounts and utilize online commerce platforms. And so we understand this has been a conversation just at PIAC for some time related to the changes with our banking accounts and otherwise. Sorry, and then follow that, we have these same recommendations to the Director of Education related to the language of the System Priorities Fund. So we're first recommendations 1 or 2 that are to the board directly, and then recommendations 3 and 4 are similar language, and we're making those recommendations directly to the Director of Education. Our final recommendation is that Director of Education report back in writing on their position related to recommendations 3 or 4, any progress made prior to the end of June 2024.
Thank you, Kadeen. Kadeen has moved this motion. Who would like to second? Oh, I think Ward 13 said they wanted to second.
Yeah, I was seconded.
What-
June was 13.
June Ward 13 would like to second this motion. And now it's open for conversation or questions. Go ahead.
So Anna is online and she has a question.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to second this motion because I was very passionate about this and I totally agree and I support you. And those were all the ideas that I did have coming in. But thank you so much for this and thank you for seconding it. So maybe the next one I could second. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anna. We'll go to Michelle next, and then I have Alice, and then Andrew.
Through you, Chair, just point of clarification for me. Are you motioning each individual motion, first and second, independently, or are you going to motion each of them as one package? If so, can we do the one motion, second it, then put a vote on it, then do the second? Yeah. It appears right now that we're doing a bit of each. So through you, Chair, to Kadeen, would you want to put this forward as one package, or are you looking at doing it individually? I just need clarity because we've done one and then second and then we're doing two. Yeah. But if we're going to do it the former, then could we do the vote for each?
Yeah.
And then go back to each?
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Our recommendation is to put it forward as a package, right? Rather than each individual motion as an individual kind of vote. If you will. So all of the items, the first 4 recommendations are similar language. 2 are directly to be brought in front of the board. 2 directly, and then 3 and 4 directly to the Director of Education. With the 5th, just a report back as we received today on the multi-year strategic plan. So to me, it is a bit of a...
So we're asking the motion 1 is for the TDSB to adopt a fundraising policy in a language, the contained languages that's our aspirants can understand.
Yes.
And the second one is they're not to do it. It's either they do it a certain way or not to do it and not adopt fundraising policy that contain language in.
Well, currently the draft policy has language in it that they're going to prevent school councils from using online commerce tools to support their fundraising. What we're asking is that not be included. So that language
Okay.
and that's
You're asking us
allowed.
Okay, so exclude what they're doing for the draft, okay? And then the other part of it is sending a recommendation to Director of Education,
Yes.
which 3, 4, and 5 kind of maps to 1 and 2?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a 1, it's okay, all right.
So it's the same content, it's just specifying that it needs to go to the Director of Education.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, this request, through consultation again, is a any other questions before I go on?
Yeah, we do. We have a question from Alice.
Sorry, Alice.
No, that's okay. And also Andrew, I think. I think I have a few things. Is it okay if I do 2? Yeah? Okay. I can't remember if you could do 1 at a time. So one is that I'm really supportive of this, but I think that maybe it might need some revisions because as you can see, there was like some confusion on what the recommendations are. So I'm wondering if we can somehow table this and then maybe revise it or take some time to revise it. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that if we can just have a little bit more of a discussion of what this policy actually means, because I think that right now there's trustees that are supporting it, and there's many trustees that are not supporting this policy. And so regardless of if we recommend it or not, ultimately it matters if the trustees are going to pass it, right? So, and I think speaking to Trustee King, Debbie King, I believe that one of the reasons why, oh, and they also did, they did a survey where there's maybe a third of the parents are not on board with this, and I think 50-something% of parents were on board of it. And so I think to have more parents be on board with the idea that fundraising should be more centralized so that it can be distributed more equitably, there should maybe be a little bit more discussion around it. I think, for example, some parents, just loosely talking about it in my school council, they were thinking, I am in the High Park and Parkdale area, so there's a huge, there's schools that fundraise very little or none at all, and there's other schools that fundraise like an enormous amount, a ridiculous amount of money. So there's a huge gap in my ward. And I would say that for the schools that fundraise a lot, the concern from parents are, and if they're not on board, I would say is because they're not sure what that means. Like there isn't a detailed, it's not detailed enough. Like, so for them to say, yes, I'm on board with this or no, it's maybe there needs to be more nuanced, I think. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean like if we fundraise to get a new basketball court, you know, is 50% of that going to go centralized and redistributed? Or is it 10% or like whatever it is? So I think that if we were, like, we should include this kind of nuance or ask for more nuance when tabling it and when presenting it to the trustees. And I think that will also bring more parents on board for the 30% or a third of the parents that are not on board that were surveyed. And it will also help us campaign to other trustees. Like if we're all in agreement, it would help us to actually ask our parents in our wards to write to our trustees and have them and hopefully, you know, change their vote. Thanks.
In response to your comment, Trustee Dovatius would like to speak.
I'm going to agree with part of what was said by Alice, and just try to provide some context about what the debate unfolded. I'm not sure if folks were watching that part of the meeting. It was the latter part of the last meeting we had. And we ran out of time. There's the clock running on the folks helping us behind here, and we had to terminate the meeting in a sense. So we're going to go back and finish the debate. Otherwise, this would have been moot because we would have made a decision already. That's the first point. Second point is that the board, from my perspective, was fairly split. It may have been a coin toss to say whether or not this policy would have passed or not. I think that if PIAC is supportive of this, it would probably be a good idea for each one of you to communicate the results of that vote individually with your trustee and the reasons why. All right, and again, you know, you'll make your decisions. I feel like my role, part of my role here is to go back and communicate to my colleagues what's being discussed here. So if we are having a conversation, we collectively here decide that this is something that is going to be supported, I'll go back and I'll try and take some of this stuff. What I would say, though, is that the board will consider the feedback that we get from PIAC, but I'm not sure that we need more nuance and more detail, per se, in that direction. I think it's a vote of support from PIAC because it eventually comes down to whether or not you're okay with what some folks perceive as a tax on fundraising and some people see as an issue of equity, okay? So it isn't the nuance that's going to convince some people or not. It's whether or not you can make the argument, I think, that this is something that parents would be supportive of. There are some folks that feel very strongly that that's not going to be the case. I was going to vote in favor for transparency's sake. That's my feedback. I'm hoping that that's a useful piece of information. There's 22 of us. I think the vote would have broken down if everybody voted about probably 13, 11, thereabouts, I would say. But hard to say which way, to be honest. And not everybody's always there for the votes, okay? It is an important policy piece, and I would just recommend that we keep it as simple as possible. If there are some things to fix, that's fine. But it isn't the nuance that's going to bring somebody on board on this per se. They had a long discussion. We're going to have a longer discussion still. It's being able to communicate how the parents feel and why. Okay. I'm sorry?
Sorry, can I just have a follow-up question? When are the trustees voting on this?
I don't have a date on it, but I know that when we left, Associate Director Zucker let us know that it would be before at the end of the summer, that there was a way to fit the report back into the June cycle.
June, okay.
That was my understanding, but I haven't seen the reports, I haven't seen the agenda. We can go back and maybe try and confirm that for PIAC.
Thank you.
Thanks. We have 2 more questions and then a comment we can look at. So first we'll go to Andrew and then we'll go to Anna.
Yeah, this is, again, I'm in support of both the motions. Well, sorry, all 5 of them. Specifically with the first one, well, 1 and 3, are around the school systems priority fund. I think when it talks about like contributions from school councils, and I believe the trustee was speaking to, I think there's a debate going on whether it's going to be voluntary or mandatory. And this motion doesn't talk about that at all. What this says is that if funds are going to come from school councils, that they go to school councils. And you can read the comment section of the report. I think basically, to sum it up, it's funds that are fundraised by school councils get spent by school councils. Now, this will create some equity. So again, those funds could go to different school councils, but that the school councils, knowing their local priorities, knowing their school council, their school communities, what's needed for those schools, will make those decisions. As the policy is currently drafted, which will go to board likely before the next meeting of PIAC. So we adopt this motion to move forward, or again, as the trustee stated, had they voted on this last week or whatever they did, this would have been moot because the policy would have been locked in for 3 years. Okay. So basically, the motion is if we are asking school councils to contribute to a systems priority fund, or to make it mandatory. Again, this is not this motion has nothing to do with those 2 pieces. That those funds get spent by school councils. My major concern with allowing system priorities funds that will be controlled by either trustees or by staff is that will become another revenue source, just like every other revenue source that the board has to address their total budgetary pressures. And again, I'm very much concerned with the idea that we're turning fundraising into a revenue source for the board when that has never, ever occurred. Okay, thank you. And then secondly, again, I also find it very interesting that at one hand, board staff and trustees are wanting to increase fundraising to support these efforts, but then the other thing, they're trying to remove our ability to use online tools, force everything into school cash online, and everybody knows how difficult it is to use that system. So it's very difficult to understand how you can, want to create equity, ask for more, but then also make it harder to actually do the work.
Thanks, Andrew. We have only 25 minutes left before our meeting, before a hard stop, so we would like to move forward.
Can we go with Anna?
Anna? Yeah, one more question.
So we will close this discussion off with Anna's question.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm trying to be as brief as I can. As I mentioned earlier, I'm very passionate about this. And if you're talking about equity, I would go back to the issue of the lottery system. You did not look at kids who were straight A students who were so good in sports, who were really good in extracurricular. We took that away, or the TDSB or the trustees voted that, to give equity to all of the kids should have a chance to be in those in the specialized programs where merit didn't count. To me, this sounds exactly the same way, because my school, Ward 18, in Scarborough, we don't even have enough money to get a school bus for a field trip. We cannot go downtown to let's say CN Tower, because it's going to cost us $1,500. We do raise money in our school council, but we can only sell $1 chip bags. So if you're talking about equity, then equity has to go all across the board. There are schools that do raise, because of those communities that they're in. They raise $20,000, $30,000. And then there's our school and schools like us who can't even get a school bus. But it's not because the community or the parents don't want to. It's just because as a community, we are not able to. So when we do all, or when you all suggest that we do go back to our trustees, we need to see equity as all over, just like we were just talking about with the director. If the kids want to go to school, now a lot of schools can go to Science Center, a lot of schools can go to Ripley's Aquarium, but other schools can't because they cannot afford a school bus. So how is this equitable? So that's why I feel that this is a very good policy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anna. So we're going to move. Sharon has a comment.
We have to, I know that Alice spoke about looking at this policy and making it tighter in terms of what we write. I know that Andrew spoke in layman terms in one or two words what exactly we're asking for. Is there a way to, I'm only asking, is there a way to not change it, but like kind of tighten up the language so it's not that, because I think, is there a way to tighten up the language?
Sarah Ali from Ward 2 as co-lead for consultation. We've done this. This is why we have working group. And this is why I suggest PIAC members representative attend the working groups. We have numerous discussion. We're here to vote it on the motion.
Yeah, however.
We're not going to be changing wording. We're not going to do that.
No, I'm working.
We've done that. We went through this.
I know what you're saying, Sarah, but working group is just here for recommendation. If the general membership is not agreeing with what they're seeing,
so that's why
then
we're
the working
vote.
group goes back and try and fix what needs to be fixed, or we quickly write it up. But working group is not the end all be all. Don't get me wrong. Working group, when you're in a working group conversation, it's a recommendation coming to the general membership. The general membership have the final say, not the working group.
This is why we're coming here, and the time is ticking, the clock, and we're asking for the vote, for the motion. That's why we recommend it, and we're bringing it forward for a vote. So we're not asking taking over, hence why we're bringing forward, as Kadeen spoke, and let's vote on it.
Yeah.
Order that we've already seconded the motion, and it's now, we need to vote now, and if it doesn't pass, then we would amend it.
So Alice, you're okay with, you had made a suggestion on. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, we should just follow Robert's Rules of Order for sure and vote. I'm fine with that.
Point of clarification, Chair, my apologies.
Yeah.
The motion was seconded. Are we at discussion of the motion?
We're
Is that where we're
discussion.
at?
This is the discussion.
So we are at the discussion,
Yes.
so the discussion is possible. So
Yes.
on the floor, there was a request within the discussion whether the motion could be amended or revised. What I'm hearing the motion, the individual who created the motion, is that they're not willing to, can I use the language, friendly amend the motion? Can I use that language? So they're not willing to friendly amend the motion. So now it means that the motion goes to the floor. It goes to the floor because they're not willing to amend what is presented, and the membership gets to vote on its views.
Okay,
That's just the simplest process, through you, Chair.
okay, thank you.
So again, this motion can be dealt with as a consent motion unless we have 3 or more members that are requiring a roll call vote. So if you would like to see a roll call vote, please make that known to us. Oh, Michelle has a comment.
My apologies to the writers of the motion, just trying to figure out if there's a balance here. Because there are voices on the committee who is asking, they're not against the principle of the motion, they're just asking for tweaking of language, so as it goes to board, it better aligns with the conversation that's happening there. So I wonder if the writers of the motion is open to a motion that supports the recommendation in principle, right? Because I'm not hearing anyone in principle with the understanding that it will be tweaked before it gets to board. Just to tighten the language for better alignment. Does
Yeah,
that
we're
work
gonna
for
say
the
no.
committee?
We're gonna go for vote. Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
No? Okay,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
move forward. We've done that before.
So we will proceed to the vote. Are there any members that would like to have a full vote? If you could make yourselves known either by raising your hand on the floor or raising your hand virtually.
Okay, Ward 1, is there anyone else? Aaron, you're looking for a recorded vote?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other PIAC members looking for a recorded vote? We need a minimum of 3.
A comment just popped up if you want to confirm that one.
Ward 21 would like to go for a recorded vote.
Okay, Ward 20? Is that Ward 20?
Ward 21.
Ward 21 and Ward 1 is looking for a recorded vote.
And
Both Ward 20 and Ward 21.
Ward 20 and Ward 21 are looking for recorded vote. So in saying that, then we would have to go to a recorded vote. Is it, do we have Jenny to help us or you're okay? Okay. So we'll go through the wards then. Okay. And you'll... So first, we're going to go to recorded vote. Ward 1, in favor or against or abstain? Ward 1? Oh, okay. We'll come back to Ward 1. I see she's on. Erin, are you? Okay. We'll go to Ward 2, and we can come back to Ward 1. Ward 2, in favor, against, abstain.
Favor.
Oh. Ward 1, Ward 2, in favor. Ward 3, in favor, against, abstain. Ward 3? No, Ward 3. Ward 4, in favor, abstain, or against.
Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I'm new. I'm just getting some I'm getting a little bit of direction, so I do apologize. Give me 1 second. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that Ward 1?
Ward 1 against.
Okay, Ward 1 against. Ward 4 now. I'm not sure if it's...
Against.
Ward 4 against. Ward 5? Oh, we have no Ward 5. Ward 6? In favor, against, or abstain? Oh. Go ahead, Crystal is in the room, okay.
In favor.
6, right? Ward 7?
In favor.
Ward 7 in favor. Ward 8?
In favor.
Ward 8 in favor. Ward 9?
In favor.
We have to know who's saying that. When you're saying your ward, please say your name so we know which, because we have co-reps. We need to know which co-rep, so it's for record as well, right? Ward 9 and co-rep name.
Melanie, Ward 9. I don't
Melanie?
think my
Okay,
co-rep
Melanie
is
Ward
here.
9,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, thanks. In favor.
Ward 10?
Ward 10, Bruce Oyilo in favor.
There's no Ward 11. Ward 12? In favor, against, abstain? No, Ward 12 is not online? Ward 13, in favor, against, abstain?
Ward 13, June in favor.
Ward 13, Jenny. Ward 14, in favor, against, abstain?
Ward 14, Jenny, in favor.
Ward 15, in favor, against,
Yusuf in
abstain?
favor.
Sorry, say again?
Ward 15, my name is Yusuf in favor.
In favor, Yusuf in favor. Ward 16,
Ward 16, Eden, in favor.
thank you. Ward 17, in favor, against, abstain? Ward 17. Ward 18,
Hi, yes, in favor, Ward 18, Anna Esmetiar.
okay. Anna, in favor. Ward 18. Ward 19, in favor, against, abstain?
Yes, in favor, Shabnam Sheikh from Ward 19.
Ward 19, Musa Alu, in favor.
Ward 19. Ward 20, in favor, against, abstain?
Co-rep has voted.
Ward 20.
Ward 20 send a message in favor, but
Co-rep has voted in favor.
Ward 20, in favor?
I can see in the chat in the message there.
Yeah, Ward 20, Gitika in favor.
Who's, okay. Ward 21?
Ward 21, Azim, in favor.
Ward 22?
Ward 22, Nadia, in favor.
That's it. And our CLG, Tawheed, are you online? CLG? No? Okay.
Ward 3 and 5 didn't respond.
Okay, Ward 3, is Ward 3 on? They were on, right? They're online, right?
They were, I believe.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore? And Ward 2, okay. So did,
Ward 5 is not there. Okay.
Michelle? Would you be able to let me know if that vote carries?
Pardon me? I'm sorry.
Are you, we're done, is the motion passed?
Through your chair, yes, the motion
Okay,
carries.
the motion carries.
Seema speaking here from Ward 18. Did everyone capture the votes that were being recorded in the chat by any chance?
No, it can't be in the chat. I've asked,
Okay, good. Can we
it
just
has to
make
be a
that clear?
verbal.
'Cause there was several
Ward,
votes in
Ward
there.
18, did you vote? Ward 18?
Yes, we did. Anna voted.
Yes, I did.
Through
Ward
you, Sharon,
18,
they were
Anna
captured.
Esmetiar.
Okay.
In favor.
Sharon,
Uh-huh.
this is Jenny from Ward 14. I've been keeping track of the chat. Everyone has made a verbal vote.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Motion
So the motion carries. Thank you. And we have strategic planning, a verbal update. And we
Through you, Chair.
okay, sorry.
Through your chair, just whether the chair at this time wants to continue, consider an extension of the meeting or a revision of the agenda. You're scheduled to end at 9:30 and you still have a number of items to go. So just for your consideration, whether you want to do that now or wait until you hit 9:30 to do so.
Okay, one thing I would like to do, can we have an extension, maybe 15 minutes now? Then we're gonna go to operational effectiveness for the motion. And then we'll do the verbal updates of the others.
Ward 21 seconds it.
Who would like to second, would like to motion for an extent?
I'll second.
Second?
Ward
Okay.
1,
Okay,
extension.
so 9:45? We're looking at 9:45, Michelle? We're looking for an extra 15 minutes after or at end time, correct?
Yeah, and so you will be extension to 9:45.
9:45, so we have work to do. Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Who second?
I'm not even sure who motioned it, Chair. Who motioned it?
Ward 21.
Ward 21.
Ward 21, yes.
Yeah. So we need a co-rep to second that.
Jenny from Ward 14.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Okay.
operation effectiveness. We'll go to strategic.
All right, we'll go straight to operational effectiveness because they have a motion that involves the budget. KD, operational effectiveness motion, budget.
Please, thank you very much. So just based on the updates that we have received this evening from all of the working groups, we had made a commitment to revisit our budget allocations. At least in January, we had made a commitment when we passed the budget at that time to revisit in April following an updated variance report, and particularly after the PIAC event hosted in February. So we'd like to bring forward a revised budget to the members for approval. And sorry, I'm looking for my motions in front of me. All right, but the revised budget speaks to a bit of underspend, at least to this point, that we have out or remaining in our budget, supported by some requests from various working groups. And so we'd like to put forward the following. And if we're able to bring up the motion, sorry, I'm just looking.
Kadeen, please just direct me where you need me to be.
Yes.
Right there?
Let's go down actually to the motion because there's a bit more language. That was just the update itself here. All right, so directly to April 2024 budget adjustments. And so we propose that PIAC approve the following motions and recommendations for the remaining school year budget. So we had approved $11,000 in January for ward level school council parent caregiver engagement by ward representatives at $500 per ward. And so we've heard from the school council support committee that they would like to defer those funds until next year, into next school year, because they have just recently developed a protocol and process for how we can allocate and expend those funds. So we'd like to move that into the 2024-25 school year budget or PIAC budget. We'd like to allocate $5,000 for the 2024-2025 school year to facilitate the development of our multi-year strategic plan, PIAC's multi-year strategic plan, and the co-leads of the strategic planning working group are directed to do the work to acquire consultant resources to complete this work. So we've been having conversations about that, and so we'd like to make that request that be held for next year's budget as the work continues to develop throughout the rest of the school year. For the 2020, or for the remainder of this school year, we'd like to ask for $5,000 to be allocated to the communications working group for continued improvements to the PIAC website, specifically around AODA compliance. The co-leads of the communications working group are directed to complete the appropriate processes to acquire a consultant to complete this work. And then we'd also like to, based on the approvals from the motion at school council working group, to allocate $5,000, and maybe we can just scroll up so I get the language correct, please, for recommendation D, to allocate $5,000 for the school council working group to continue their work around improving communication processes between school councils and parents and IT. Sorry.
Keep going.
So those are motions specific to the budget, those four. Oh, sorry, no. Yep, stay there. That's perfect. Maybe up like 2 lines or down 2 lines.
I'm sorry, go down?
Yeah, no, up.
Up?
Yes, there. Thank you. That's it. So the remaining motions for 2, 3, and 4 are specific to the co-leads of each of the working groups, strategic planning working group, for the communications working group, and for school council support working group to report back in writing on the status of the work related to the above motion 1B through to D. before the end of June 2024. And so not that the work has to be completed, but that they will provide updates on the required actions to acquire their consultants with the support or working with the support of the various TDSB staff.
Okay.
I have a question. Are we able to allocate funds from this year into the next year?
Andrew
So
has, yes.
I'll speak about that. Okay, so you put the motion forward. Let's get it second and then we'll discuss and we can tweak where we need to tweak.
Ward 16, Ed, I second the motion.
What, Eden, Ward 16?
Ward 16.
Ward 16, second. Okay, so the rule is any funding that we have for this that the ministry gives us, it must be depleted by the end of the school year. Nothing can be carried over. If it's carried over, it's going right back to the ministry and we may not get that fund back again. So one of the suggestions is in order to, you can always start a higher within this year and have that group extend out to the next year. So you start the process where they do a little bit of the work, the money's funded for the little bit of work that you're doing, and then kind of you bill, and then you will ask for the balance in the next school year when we get our new allocation. Okay, so that's it. So we have to do 2023, 2024, and we have to spend towards us. If not, we won't have it again next year. Michelle, am I correcting what I'm saying? Please explain.
Through you, Chair, that's correct. I believe our comptroller had actually presented that fact to PIAC.
Okay, so I understand that we have the 5,000. So if we cannot use it, if we don't need the 5,000 for this year, can it go towards something else or higher? And have that consultant extend their time out towards the go live. Go ahead.
Thank you for that. I think we have taken that into consideration. We don't want our funds to be clawed back. So motion 1, C and D are specific to the remainder of this school year. And we would like to ensure that working groups have their priorities resourced and their work that they have spent a significant time kind of actioning. So 5,000 to communications, specifically around AODA compliance for the PIAC website. They have already begun the work to complete the RFQ. Oh yes, there is a link that actually, oh yes, thanks Michelle. Maybe that will be helpful for everyone because we also, in the report, which is linked into the title of this, motion, it's kind of blue highlighted. It provides the variance report as well. So members, yeah, scroll down. All right, one more. Down, one more. You're gonna see a blue title and that's actually an active link that will, yes. Tell me that it works and it doesn't work.
Why you do that link? I'm gonna recommend that the 5,000 that you need for strategic planning, I'm recommending that you switch it up and have 2024 and work on getting a consultant that would at least start the process. So you have that fund that can be utilized within that time as opposed to don't know what to do with the fund. I'm suggesting to actively start having someone and ask for their consultation support from now until we finish off in the fall.
Strategic planning working group co-leads have been working extensively to start that process. There are questions around the RFQ, scope of work. We've kind of been working through that. And so the goal of not kind of rushing that process so it can be done effectively is why we've requested that those funds be available for the start of next year. At least this gives space for that working group to report back on the scope of the work and what they're looking for. And we've been having a lot of discussions about vendors on the list and or seeking a consultant outside of that vendor list. So with all of those things in consideration, we did not want to push that process or speed it up beyond the comfort of the working group.
Okay, so we won't have any funding until, we don't know what the funding will be until September. We'll have to come back. We can ask for it. However, again, the 5,000, what are we going to do with that 5,000?
Okay, well, we have 10,000 allocated for school councils and for communications to move forward with acquiring their consultants for separate work, and both of those have been approved this evening as well. So because the work groups have given their updates and their reports, made their request for their funds, all we're doing is requesting the approval through the budget so that we can actually put these things into action.
And for the RFQ, if you're, how are you going to manage between June and September to secure someone if there's no funding for them?
For
the strategic planning. You don't have to ask. Strategic plan can answer that on your behalf.
Yeah.
Where's the June or Mercy?
Oh, hi, Sharon. So
Yeah.
just to answer your question, we're going to be working with the co-leads to complete the RFQ. And then into next year, we're hoping to get the 5,000 out of the next year's budget.
So you're just doing the planning now, but that means the RFQ would go out in September. Michelle, how does that work? Because if we don't secure someone with funding now, then you may not have them for September or October. Go ahead, Michelle. Just trying to help.
Through you, Chair, that is correct. The best way for PIAC to utilize it is to get your RFQ out, get your consultant locked in with, and please saying I'm premised this looking around our internal process, where work will be scheduled in for the consultant to be working with PIAC now and throughout the summer. We'll be delivering some elements of the scope of work between now and the summer, and then delivering other scope of work for September. So the scope of work for the consultant will be from May through till October, November, to be sure that we're aligning with our procedures around when funds are spent, because there's this key piece about funds being utilized quickly by year end. So I would propose that the scope just do that. So if the committee can just put together an RFQ that we can try to get posted before year end and get the consultant on board and the work schedule, that may be something that our purchasing office will accept.
Thank you. Because the consultant can actually work on their own over the summer as part of the requirement over the summer as part of the requirement, and make sure they have something concrete for us in September. That's a suggestion. We need to use the funds. Okay.
Right. So, Sharon, we've had discussions with this, like 2 lengthy discussions in our working group, and it's just to have a meaningful RFQ that would be effective this time around. It was felt that we need input from all the co-leads to be able to put together a RFQ.
Okay,
that
so
is gonna be
no
good.
problem. So here's a suggestion, because we can always give the money back. Let's vote to keep it. I'm suggesting for you. Trust me on this.
Through you, Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
I do recall this committee had made a previous decision about any surplus funds left for PIAC will be allocated to support the comms, the communications, I believe it's the comms committee. So that means there will be no surplus from this committee, because what will happen is your comms committee will be able to take those resources and complete the multiple levels of work. I believe that motion was tabled here.
No, that motion hasn't happened yet. That was last year. There's been no motion.
There are hands up online. Is anyone monitoring us? There are 3 hands up.
Yes, we are. So have you concluded your part, Sharon? Okay, so I have 3 names online. We'll start with Melanie, then Anna, and then Seema. Go ahead, Melanie.
I have a question. Do you mind scrolling down the screen, Michelle, to part D?
Sorry, can you speak louder?
Oh, sorry. Do you mind scrolling down to D?
B or B, Michelle?
B or D?
D as in David.
David.
Scrolling down.
Scroll down. Yeah, I need to see. We just
Yeah, so I can see the full D.
1D.
Oh, I would need to get, you want to go back to the motion?
1D. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, please. Sorry. Yes.
Because this is not the motion.
Oh.
This is just the actual document. So they wanted you to see.
Oh, you can go to the document. That's
Is that what
fine.
you wanna
If you
see?
can
There
just
it
scroll
is.
down.
But we're on A. We can only see A on the
you see
screen.
Oh, my apologies. Let me stop sharing.
I don't want people to.
Okay.
So Melanie, did you have a question to go with that, or you just wanted the scroll?
Yep. No, I'm just curious. It says school council support working group. I don't recall having this conversation, so I just want to just follow up, and I want to know exactly what are we asking $5,000 for? It says to improve communication between school councils and parents, caregivers. The co-leads of the school council support working group are directed to acquire a consultant. This was shut down the last time we brought it forward, so I'm just I'm one of the co-leads. I wasn't consulted on why so I'm curious why it's coming forward again.
Is that it, Melanie?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to Anna.
Hi, I just wanted to ask why we're spending $5,000 on a consultant. Thank you.
Well, she's a new member. So
Is that for a specific motion out of A, B, C, D, or just the term consultant for any of these motions? Just want to make sure we're clear.
It's for 1B, I believe. Yes. For the entire, yeah, sure, for all of it. Why are we spending money on a consultant? Thank you.
So just to clarify for motion 1C, the term consultant here is generic, but really we're hiring someone to rewrite our content and the PDFs that we have because they're all very, very old and not AODA compliant. So we as volunteers do not have the capacity to do it or the skill set, really. So the consultant in this scenario is someone who is going to rewrite the content and make those documents AODA compliant. Does that clarify things for everybody, or do you need, I can explain some more? Is that a problem?
If that's how it was done in the past, then yes, I'm in agreement. Thank you. I just wanted some clarification.
Yeah, no worries. The term consultant, I know, can be quite generic and doesn't really explain what the outcomes are, but the outcome for 1C is the content will be rewritten with a lens like DEI lens, obviously. So a lot of the heavy text, heavy language, that's very difficult for people who might have different cognitive abilities, different reading levels. We're trying to make it easier for them, so removing barriers for parents, but also the documents themselves are not compliant. And we have received complaints for at least a couple of years now.
And Seema, did you have any further comments?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah. So this is June. Yeah, and just a quick comment on what B. Actually, PIAC is doing its multi-year strategic planning because the last one has been done, like I think for 2020. So it's kind of most of the, I should say, a big part of PIAC members are new, and strategic planning is really important. It's kind of like a compass for how this committee will go. So basically, we had a meeting, discussed whether we need a consultant to do that, because it just needs a lot of professional like knowledges, not only on PIAC, like the similar organizations, and also there are a couple of engagement activities like the survey, other things. So
Sorry,
PIAC itself, it can't do it by ourselves.
sorry,
That's
June.
coming.
I apologize. We're 9:41. So I'm just gonna say in a nutshell, we are a volunteer group. Anne, is it Anna? Anna, sorry, Anna. We're a volunteer group, parents, and so there are going to be times where we're going to be needing expertise on the outside to help support our group. The government give us funding in order to help support, just like at school council, and so we're using the funding to help support the growth of our group and to ensure that we're in compliance where need be, and also provide better guidance to us so that we can do the work that we need to do. Okay. Hopefully that
I
helps.
understand. Thank you very much, everyone,
Okay,
for all
thanks.
of the
No problem.
explanations.
Kadeen, are we looking to, we need to go a vote, it's a recorded vote. Were we looking to keep it the way it is, or we're voting on C and D? Or everything? A, C, D? Or just, what do you need to do?
Thank you. We'd still like everything to be voted on, please.
Okay.
And are willing to make the amendment
Where needed.
for B to make those funds available to strategic,
Okay.
strategic planning working group. So if we can amend B, but I think it's still important that all the points go forward for vote.
Okay, we're going to go to the vote. We're running out of time. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a budget vote, so we need to do a roll call vote. So we will begin with.
Through you, Chair, just clarification for me as I'm recording. You're doing, are you voting on all of one, or are you voting 1A, then 1B, then 1C, then 1D?
The one as a group.
Sorry, all of one,
All as one.
as, sorry, 1 to 4, forgive me, 1 to 4 on one vote?
So you're doing all one vote, 1 to 4?
Yes.
I just think the clarification is helpful for members on the line, Chair.
Absolutely, and we will make the amendment to 1B that the 5,000 be allocated for the 2023-24 school year as well.
Okay. 2023, thank you. 2023, 24. So we just, so the edit, allocate 5,000 for the 2023-2024 school year to facilitate development of PIAC's multi-year strategic plan. So we'll change that year, and you can edit that after. Kaden, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right, so we will start with Ward 1.
Can you hear me?
Yes. In favor, opposed, abstain? Ward 1?
Ward 1 in
In favor?
I can't hear what you're saying.
Ward 1 in favor.
In favor?
In favor, Ward 1. Ward 2.
Favor.
Sarah. Ward 3, I believe, is not here. Ward 4.
In favor?
Who's that?
This is Jessica Ruiz,
Oh,
Ward 4.
Jessica, great. Ward 5 is not here. Ward 6.
In favor, Mercy Charles, Ward 6.
Mercy. Ward 7.
In favor.
And who was that?
Alice.
Oh, you're right in front of me. All right. So when you say in favor or oppose or abstain, please say your ward and your name afterwards, or your name. Ward 8.
Ward 8, Kadeen in favor.
Ward 9.
Ward 9, Melanie in favor.
All right. Ward 10.
Ward 10 votes in favor, Bruce Oyelowo.
Ward 11 is not here. Ward 12 is not here. Ward 13?
Ward 13 in favor, June.
Okay. Ward 14?
Jenny, in favor.
Ward 15?
Ward 15, Yusuf in favor.
Okay. Ward 16?
Ward 16, Eden in favor.
Okay. Ward 18?
Ward 18, Anna, in favor.
All right. Ward 17 is not here. That's why I skipped over. Ward 19?
Ward 19, Shabnam Sheikh in favor.
Ward 19, Musa Alu in favor.
Okay, so Ward 19, just a reminder that each ward only has one vote, but you were in favor. Ward 20.
Ward 20? Is that Chris?
Ward 20, are you still with us? Oh, we've got a chat.
Is that Chris? You online, Chris? 11? Who's the other one?
Okay, Ward 21.
In favor, Azim.
Azim. And Ward 22.
Ward 22, Nadia in favor.
Okay. Great, so that motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kadeen. Thank you, team. We're going to go quickly to senior staff update. A strategic plan verbal and special events. Do you have anything quickly to say? Strategic plan? I think we already spoke about it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much covered
Okay, then.
earlier. So I think we're
Okay.
good.
Special events, anything to say? Any updates?
Nothing to say at the
All right.
time. I just had to take a personal leave and I'm just returning today.
Okay, welcome back. Senior staff update. Senior staff, as quickly as you can. The most important is that 5-day calendar update, please.
So through the chair, respectfully, I'm wondering whether we'd like to consider both. We have two report backs. We have a report to present regarding the 5-day. We also have Kevin Bradbeer and Peter Singh, who have been online. They have about a 20-minute presentation. Wondering if we can perhaps provide a written report in between now and the next meeting so that we're prepared to answer questions and have a fulsome discussion. I know Kevin did come to the school council, Executive Officer, Senior Manager Brad Beer came to the school council working group and had a fulsome discussion there and would really like to get some input about preparing for our email, etc., IT supports for the fall. So just looking to the chair for direction as to whether we should start a report, noting that it's about 9:49 at this point.
Okay, I'm looking for the 5-day cycle calendar update, if you can, at this meeting. And then Senior Manager Brad Beer, thank you so much for being patient online. We can have him start the report if he can do even a survey, anything that he could send to our to us that we could put to the general membership as a starting point for discussion. And then he can have something prepared for, is he able to come back to our next meeting?
I believe so.
Okay.
And Executive Officer Peter Singh
Yes.
is also online,
Yeah.
and I believe he's available to come back.
And please thank him for their patience, okay? Yeah. So go ahead for the other update.
We're extending the meeting, just to confirm, is that what you're asking?
Yes, we need to, that's important that, just for that particular update. Please go ahead.
So through your chair, you need to formally do so. It's 9:50, you had extended to 9:55.
For another,
We're beyond 5 minutes.
we're beyond 5 minutes, so another 5 minutes. Can we, this is for the school year elementary 5-day cycle calendar. We just need, there's a requirement for senior staff to update today on it. We just that particular update, and we're done actually after that.
Actually, I'd like to move that we defer the item and adjourn for this evening. We're already past our agreed time at 9:45. And respectfully, we'll take any written documentation that you can provide in between the meetings so that we can review and come prepared for a discussion on the item. It's already minutes to 10. That's my request.
Any other member?
I second.
You second? Okay. So do you have a written, okay, then, so you'll just have a written report sent to us? Was it sent to us already or no?
No, apologies, it wasn't sent.
Okay,
We were
that's
waiting
fine.
for this evening, but we will send it between now and the next meeting.
Okay. I would like to hear from the rest of the membership. Are we good with this, or you want to hear for?
I think we are good with this.
Okay.
If there are any objections to this proposal, then can you please make it known right now, either by raising your hand on the floor or virtually?
Okay, no objection. Sorry, so Michelle Monroe has sent out a written report so that we can review. And you want to say anything?
No, I just want to thank our senior staff for hanging in here all this time. And I know that Senior Manager Kevin Bradbeer has been online all this time as well, so thank you. And our trustee.
Okay. And I also want to say thank you to Janice for stepping up and help supporting me during this time. You did amazing. Thank you very much. And I want someone to move the meeting, to adjourn the meeting. Who would like to?
Through you, Chair, that's been done.
It's been
There's
done?
a motion put on the floor.
Motion. Carrie,
Done.
have a wonderful April, which is May tomorrow. And I'll see you in June. Okay?
Get your taxes done.
Yeah, get your taxes done.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night. I appreciate your patience, everyone. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Better go before.
It's June.
June. No, we don't have a May. No, that's why I said happy May. I think it's June 4th.
So,